Medill. I'm an operations coordinator at Sable Island National Park Reserve. If you don't know where that is, we're about 290 kilometers from Halifax, Nova Scotia, way out in the Atlantic Ocean. And this island has been a bit treacherous for maritime travel in the past, and so we are also known as the graveyard of the Atlantic. We have over 350 known shipwrecks to have occurred on Sable Island. And this week we have some archaeologists who are going to be coming out to study the shipwrecks, and we're going to go head out to the runway right now.
If you leave us here, you are very reasonable. I'll call you again if you've left the place. Copy that.
Sable is the French word for sand, so it's no wonder this island got called Sable Island. There is nothing but sand here. The sandbars around the island were also constantly shifting and moving around, and that's part of what posed such a navigational hazard to ships in the early 17th and 18th centuries.
Sable Island is a really unique place for archaeology. The island is constantly changing shape. Shipwrecks and artifacts are buried when the dunes form, and then revealed when the dunes erode and move.
The underwater archaeology team works usually in the water. We work at the National Historic Sites and national parks throughout Canada, and I think this is the first time working in a sand dune.
So we have a shipwreck site, but to excavate it archaeologically, it's a terrestrial excavation. But given that it's a shipwreck and that's not something that we normally work on, we rely on the underwater archaeologists to identify the pieces and sort of lead the excavation, because it's just not something we normally dig up.
I wonder if 200 years from now, they'll find our artifacts quite as exciting.
My first impressions was, God, there's a lot of sand and a lot of water, like it's unreal. It's pretty neat landing on the beach, like caught me off guard. And
while we were walking around, we found a sheave block with a broad arrow on it.
So that's the broad arrow?
That's the broad arrow.
A broad arrow is used by the British Royal Navy to mark their property. Finding that arrow indicated that somewhere in this area was a British Royal Navy shipwreck.
Through archival research, we learned that a British Royal Navy ship, the HMS Barbados, was wrecked on Sable Island in this location in 1812, along with 2 ships from a small convoy of accompanying vessels. Our working theory is that the pieces we found with the broad arrows are from the Barbados, and the hull pieces here are one of the smaller vessels that was accompanying the Barbados. We need to collect the archaeological information quickly because on Sable Island, artifacts can be reburied or moved by shifting sand dunes.
Well, we're going to try and uncover the top of this wreck that's still under the sand. At the same time, we're also going to take down this sand. We're going to see if we can't find the other part of this vessel. Hopefully, if we're lucky, maybe the keel is under here. That the hull broke like that,
Okay.
which they tend to do, and that the other side is under here.
Anyways, I'm just gonna have a quick dig here, Brandy, and see if this could indeed be a section of keel. If it were a keel, and I think it could be, the fact that the sheathing is overlapping this way is generally gonna tell you that's the bow, right? Bow end.
It's way larger and way more complete than we had anticipated, so that's pretty exciting.
On Sable Island, it's rare to be able to link individual artifacts to a specific wreck event. That's one of the reasons we're doing this excavation.
This is an eroding sand dune, and I think as the sand dune keeps cutting back, there's going to be more elements of who knows what.
mean, it is obviously a different flavor of Sable Island weather. It's another reason that Sable Island was such treacherous for sailors, being one of the foggiest places.
You know, archaeology, it's an all-weather game, so you just roll with it.
Now that we've got the shipwreck fully uncovered, we are recording it. So we draw the whole thing to scale, adding every timber, every feature that we can see, nails that we can see, and their locations, put it all together in one sheet. I'm going to start there, the original nail.
Yeah, there was this symbol too.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, look at that.
It is really impossible to see those details in the sandstorm.
Sure would be handy if there was a name just like right there, eh?
I'm going to take a wood sample from this piece of wreckage. Okay, I'm going to take this and get a copper sample too.
This is RTK GPS survey instrument. So there's an antenna over there. It's speaking to the satellites. That antenna is speaking to this one and give very accurate coordinates and elevations. We have this drone target here, and it's accurate positioning needed for locking in all the drone shots. And a seal has kind of trundled along here. So it looks like it hasn't moved the target, sort of drove over it.
Why are we covering this piece of wreckage back up?
We're covering it back up with sand because it will last longer under the sand. It provides an anaerobic environment, preventing oxygen and bacteria from getting in there. It's lasted this long under the sand, so we're going to put it back.
There's letters stamped in the wood on this side saying AU 1806. This is definitely associated with the British Navy. And it was made in August 1806. Padding around it, the tag. Let's go back to the Parks Canada Conservation Lab in Halifax.
We're going to have those tested for wood species so we can make sure that these are actually from the same wreck.
So we are here waiting for our flight to come pick everybody up.
With a bit of follow-up research, we should be able to arrive at a pretty good understanding of that wreck and its size and what type of vessel it was. And hopefully we can link that up with the historical record. So I think across the board, it was a highly successful project.
This work is just the start. Archaeology is a long, patient process. The story is still unfolding, but the excavation has given us a lot of really amazing information.